So, all right, so I want to apologize to you guys, first of all, for the way I sound. I've been dealing with a head cold for about a week now, but I'm taking medicine and everything, trying to get past this, but I'm not going to let that stop me or anything else stop me from getting this information out to you. So, so here we go in part 3. So where this all comes from is I'm going to explain to you the myth, the ancient legends that they have, that Satan perpetuates to lie to people. This comes from a ancient Roman festival called Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, which means the birthday of the unconquered sun. You know, Satan likes to idolize everything and make idols of everything. So it's them literally making an idol of the sun, as if, you know, it's the worshipers of the sun. Again, this is what the Catholic Church does. It's what ancient Egyptians did. All the ancient religions, the Romans, this is what they do. This is what Satan led these people to do, to worship the sun. So it comes from the Emperor Aurelian, the Roman Emperor Aurelian. He had a new temple built in honor of Sol, which is the sun god they worshipped. And it was dedicated on December 25th. And as I said to you, all these false gods, all of them had the same birthday, which is December 25th. Now, the belief was, and part of this is true, but of course Satan twisted it with a bunch of lies, because where this comes from is the belief that they believe that every year on December 21st or 22nd, which is the winter solstice, and I believe this year it's on the 22nd, which would be Sunday, this coming Sunday, they believe that because the sun appeared to them that it died, that it stopped moving, they believe that their sun god that they worship actually died. Because what happens is that on the winter solstice every year, this is when the sun is furthest from the earth. So it appeared like the sun had stopped moving in the sky and that it had died. So they thought that the power of cold and darkness had defeated the sun. But the belief was that 3 days later, on December 25th, on Christmas, the sun god had been reborn. Because what they started to notice was that the days started to get, whereas the winter solstice, the 21st and 22nd, was the darkest day of the year, the day that had the longest hours of darkness, they started to notice that on the 25th was when the days started to lengthen. They started to get more light leading into the spring equinox in March. So the belief was that the sun god had defeated the powers of cold and darkness of winter that had killed him. So they started to notice the sun began to move again in its orbit. It began to move, and it appeared as if the power of the sun had been reborn. Okay, so now we know that God put the sun in the sky. It represents Jesus. So this is true that the sun appears to stop moving for 3 days, and then it begins moving again. This is God showing his son that his son would be dead and rise on the 3rd day. So, but of course, Satan likes to twist everything to be about himself. So this is where they get the ancient beliefs from. They believe the sun god was reborn on December 25th because they noticed that the power of the sun had come back. The sun had prevailed against the powers of cold and darkness of winter. And they were celebrating that they were headed towards spring, when there would be more light and more heat and warmth. Okay, that the sun had defeated wintertime. All right, so that's where you get that from. And again, the truth in this is, it is true that the sun, because it gets to the maximum point of its orbit where it's furthest from the earth on the winter solstice, it does appear as if because the movement of the sun is an oval shape, when it gets to that outer edge, it appears as if it's not moving for 3 days, and then it begins to move again. So on Christmas Day, it is when it would begin to move back toward the earth. And so it's the exact opposite on the summer solstice. That's when the sun is the closest to the earth, which is part of the reason why you have the extreme heat of summertime. And obviously in the wintertime, since it's furthest away, that's part of the reason why you have extreme cold. All right. So on December 25th, the sun is moving back towards the earth. Okay. So that's how you get the 2 equinoxes and the 2 solstices. All right. And the word solstice actually means, it comes from the meaning of the word is sun stands still. Because again, they believe that the sun stood still and did not move as if it was dead on the winter solstice, on the 21st or 22nd, whichever it is in that particular year, which I think this year it's on the 22nd. All right. And 3 days later, it began to move again. And it seemed like it had prevailed over death. See, it was unconquered. the thing that had been conquered and defeated. It's the birthday of the unconquered sun. The sun can't be defeated. See, it's their false god, sun god worship. And it was always on December 25th. That's what Christmas is really about. All right. And I'm going to get into more details about this and explain this to you because they pointed to this in movies and everything. I mean, they show this to you all the time. So we're going to continue to explain this as I go along. Hopefully I can get as much of this in today and show you guys this so you can begin to understand this. But it's important you understood the basics before we get into this and how this points to how Barack Obama is about to come forth and show himself to be the antichrist. It's going to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt.